All right, you are now tuned into the Rotated Views podcast. I am your host, Jimmylee Velez. I'm here with Gabe, Heck, and Goose.
What up?
Underestimated. In this episode, the crew provides inspiration and motivation on everyday life. We cover topics that range from quitting, sacrifice, outworking your opponent, making history, and much more. We wrap the episode up with quotes from Larry Flint and Grant Cardone. Guys, if you're new, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to download and subscribe. We drop a new episode every Tuesday morning for your listening pleasure. Kicking things off, the crew, the squad.
Yo, we are here.
We've been going strong with the guest.
Yeah.
We've been going very strong with the guest. So it's been a while where we all just sat at the table, kind of giving, few updates, but also providing, a little insight, on what's going on, a little bit of background, how has it been with all these guests. There's a lot. It's for those of you who don't know, there's a lot of work that goes into this bad boy when it comes to the content, when it comes to booking the guests, all that, and even it coming to fruition. So you could plan, but sometimes it doesn't work out. But we've been fortunate enough. We had some fantastic guests, and we have a bunch coming on that I think you guys will appreciate. It has been absolutely awesome, gratifying, rewarding. It's just been incredible, the feedback that we've gotten so far. And like I said, we have some legendary episodes ahead of us. So you definitely want to tune in, download, subscribe, like us, rate us, share us. We're all positive. So if you're wondering, there's a lot of motivation out there. I number one, I love motivation. I love inspiration. I listen to everyone under the sun. Me as an adult, I can handle specific things. The issue with motivation then comes when a lot of it doesn't use, specific language. A lot of people think that it's boring or dated or whatever, where we provide that uplifting, in-your-face motivation, but you don't have to worry about, you can drive to, your kids to school and all that, good stuff, and we are good to go. We're clean. And there's nothing wrong. We need the other, everyone has a place in all this. But for us specifically, I know all of us have kids, so I know exactly what it's like driving into work, not being able to listen to specific things because of the content. Where here at the Rotated Views podcast, we're giving you all the above, and it's almost worry free. With that being said, keep a lookout for some video footage that we're going to begin putting out. Our guy Manny has started to utilize his some of the equipment that he has, and we want to give you guys some more visuals, especially for the studs that sit at this table, not including myself, but everyone else. It's cool. It's cool to see the video. It's cool to see the visual, I should say, alongside with the audio. Yes. All right. So with that being said, we're calling this one Underestimated. So the Blessed Lifestyle brand came out with a shirt titled Underestimated. It comes in the Army, the military green, the military lettering. If you look at it, it's significant on so many fronts. But the big thing is, and there's more to come from that line. The big thing is being underestimated and what it can do to you, your thought process, your ego, your actions, everything to the people around you. A lot of times, or most of the time, we can't manage the people who underestimate us. But one thing we can manage is underestimating ourselves and understanding the true power that we possess. What actually we are made of, and what actually we can do with the gifts we have been given, right? And so the main thing for me is in life, and I know I always talk about, every single day become the best version of yourself and all that, all that good stuff. The thing is when we leave this earth, the question we all should be asking ourselves is, have I done everything possible to accentuate, to pull out, to bring out the best in me as a gift back? Did I utilize all my gifts? Did I utilize all my skills, all my abilities? Because the saddest thing is all these things that are lying dormant in us, these things that are potentially in us that are not being used, right? So that's almost like having an exotic car, right? Let's just say it has 6 gears for just example sakes. And you're only using the first 3. Imagine, why on earth would you have 6 speeds if you're only going to use 3?
Sure.
Seriously.
Right. Yep.
All right, so then there's another 3. So you're only halfway there. You're only using half of the ability of the car. This thing wants to go faster. It's begging you to go faster.
Built to go faster.
It's built to go faster. But you only use three speeds. So that's really what I want to talk about, is unlocking the next 3. And utilizing what you are actually capable of. There's so much, all of us here at the table, where this Rotated Views podcast, we just thought it was just going to be some little thing that we're going to have in one of our houses and just do it on a weekly basis, and probably it's going to die out. Me and Gabe thought, let's just get to 10 episodes.
Sure.
That was our only goal. Here we are at 168, right? 3.5 years later.
Way beyond the initial goal.
Way beyond that.
beyond.
Having
Absolutely.
and supporting local businesses, having entrepreneurs, business owners, creators of nonprofits, all kinds of things that are featured and are inspiring and motivating other people. Now, if we stayed in that little office, how what were we holding back that whole time? And I think it happened for a reason. I think we needed to develop ourselves.
Sure. Right. Yeah.
But that whole time you could question, was it 100% utilized?
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it was wasted, but was it utilized to its fullest? I don't know. It doesn't matter now. The fact that we recognize it and we're going to move forward with it now, that's what when you capitalize on it now and you understand that,
Yes.
then you're good.
Yeah.
It's the people who understand their magic, understand their abilities, and still do not capitalize on it. Right? We all know someone who could sing their tail off.
Sure.
Don't use it for anything. Nothing. Even if it's at least bless the people around you, sing. I wish I could sing. I cannot. I cannot. Right? But it's utilizing what we had. And I think the Rotated Views podcast is a perfect example of squeezing everything we have, right? And using our resources to the best of our ability. And we're getting better with it. We're expanding. We're reaching out. And not everything's perfect. And there's a bunch of stuff that we could still be doing that we're still not doing. We literally just put together some business cards 3.5 years later. And we realize that because now we are networking 500,000 times more than we ever were before. And we're, something as small as a little piece of paper can make a large difference. Right. I think us as a unit have grown. I think, the Blessed Lifestyle brand as a brand has grown because of it. There's things that all of us are learning, not only from each other, but from the movements and the things that we want to do in the future. I know one of the biggest things that I definitely want to do is create events off of our recordings. We have the ability, we have all the equipment, have someone who's truly inspirational, truly motivational, has a story behind them, feature them, but generate a crowd, and then, possibly, gain some followers and have some viewers that are, donating on whatever amount that they want, and those proceeds will go to a local charity. There's so many ideas that we can do from here. But the point is that we started in a little tiny office, and we could have stayed there. We could be there today, but we didn't. We branched out. We realized, and that's okay to start there, but you also have to recognize that you outgrew something.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
100%.
When you outgrow something, you have to understand it's time to move on.
Yes.
A lot of times we underestimate our own power, and we're capable of so much more, but the self-doubt, the self-talk interferes. We start talking ourselves out of things. Have you ever gotten a promotion, or have you ever gotten something or an opportunity present itself, and you were so gung-ho about it, you fit all the criteria, And by the time you got home, which was 5 minutes away, you done talked yourself out of it.
Yeah, you talked yourself into not deserving it.
Yeah, I don't deserve it. I don't know if I should be here. I remember seeing a nursing graduation, and one of the speakers was talking about you deserve to be here, because a lot of times you feel that in the health industry that maybe you don't have no experience, so you feel kind of like you're not up to par with everybody else. There's people with like 10 times more degrees than you, so you don't feel like you should be in the same room as them. But this guy kept mentioning you deserve to be there. Just remember that. You're there for a reason. And sometimes it might not be, the way you think is going to happen.
Sure.
But everything is a learning experience, and if you can pull something from those experiences, I think you're well on your way to, again, becoming a better version of yourself. But let's talk about the underdogs, right? Let's talk about being underestimated. So I think for me personally, I think it doesn't matter whether someone – I think it's the mentality, right? I think it's all of our mentality. It doesn't matter whether someone underestimates you. The real question is, do you underestimate yourself? Do you understand your ability? Do you understand your power? Because once you understand that, I'm better than this. I'm worth more. Once you understand that, who cares who's underestimating you? If anything, the underdog, it's more rewarding when you surprise them and come out on top. I feel that sometimes, for me, it might be ego, but there's something to prove. I think that gives me gas. I think I get excited off certain things on being doubted or being talked down upon or being literally underestimated. Like, that's not gonna happen. That's gonna flop. They're going absolutely nowhere with that. That, on some level, that excites me. But I think that's the competition, the competitor inside me, right? And wanting to be the best. And it's not a negative thing. I just think that it's a challenge. Like, you know what? I'm being doubted. I think I can become that. All right, well, now prove it. And I think a lot of it comes from a very healthy standpoint. The bad part comes when you allow those negative thoughts to actually interfere with your thoughts and take over, right? It's the old story. It's what are you going to feed? The positive or the negative? Whichever one you feed is the one that's going to be dominant. Right? So if I starve the negativity, it's not going to do anything. It's going to sit there, right? But if I keep feeding the positive thoughts, the positive encouragement. Listen, here's the thing. The reason why we fear a lot of things is because we don't understand how it's going to perfectly happen. Sure. And in our minds, we want it to happen so perfectly. Yeah. We want it to happen so perfectly, and we have this whole thing set up. And if it doesn't, we're scared because we think like, dang, I look like an idiot. I just told all these people that I was going to do X, Y, and Z. Yeah. The best part about all that, it never happens to plan. Ever. So if you think success is going to happen exactly how you plan it, throw that thing out the window because that's literally never, ever, ever how it happens. It happens on the most craziest circumstances.
Spontaneously.
The unexpected interferes and intervenes and actually saves you. You should actually be thankful for that because if you figured out, if you understood how life works, what's the point of it then? Because we don't. This whole time, we're still trying to figure this whole thing
You're
out.
going through the motions at that point.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, and if you are at that level, you've lost something.
Sure.
Genuinely. I think there's something about the fight. I think there's something about figuring it out because that's where you grow. The pain is where we grow. So if I know how to drive from the barbershop to my house, for example. But if I don't understand, if I'm just flying there without obeying any of the law and I get pulled over or get in a car accident, that's the pain, right? Mm-hmm. But if I understand along the way, I'm going to have to stop. Listen, on the journey, think of it as that car ride. You're going to have to stop. You're going to have to hit the yield. You're going to have to slow down. You're going to get hit by traffic. That's the exact same journey that we're on when it comes to success or whatever, achieving your goals or becoming whatever the heck it is that you want to be. The thing is, we want to see it so smooth. We want to get there yesterday. You want to be just instantly debt-free. You want miracles to happen like left and right, so everything's so perfect the way you have it in your head. The problem is those lessons are the things that are going to allow you. We're selfishly thinking about this stuff. Here's the thing. We're selfishly thinking about it. We want it to work out so perfectly for ourselves. The issue is when I see you stumble, You don't understand it, but you're teaching me. When Goose, I see you stumble, you think it's oh crap, I screwed up, whatever, now I got to make this right. You're teaching me. I'm learning off your experiences. A lot of times we don't realize that we're used as tools for other people to learn from us. Does that make sense?
You don't realize how much people actually watch you and
absolutely
see you dealing with the struggle and dealing with all that stuff that you may think it's negative on the front end, but it's actually a learning experience, like you said, on the back end.
Absolutely. And here's the thing: everyone's watching. Not most people are paying attention, but everyone's watching. And if you put that into your mind, how are you going to act? I say this all the time, and I'm going to repeat it because there's definitely a new listener right now. Imagine your day if it was videotaped. We love to critique all these reality TV shows and everything that they go through. We love to be critiqued. We love to critique it, and because we're so perfect. But imagine if that was on you. Flip that, right? Yeah. Imagine if that was on you. Imagine the pressure, right? Imagine the bull crap that you tell yourself and you tell everybody else that you do every single day and you don't. Yeah. And now it's being exposed. Because the real you is exposed. Once everyone sees every single step you do, it's exposed. That's how you grow. Imagine if a camera's following you around. Would you do the things that you're doing? Would you make the calls that you're calling?
That's what's so funny. Like when you say your boss is when your boss is standing there, you're on your best behavior. But when they go away, then you act the real way.
Studies have shown this was going back to the days of when they're coming out with the lines of creating automobiles. And they did studies of if there was a supervisor watching them, all the parts go through the conveyor belt and all the workers.
The assembly line.
Literally the production increased by some crazy number when they knew they were being watched. When they didn't know they were being watched, it dropped dramatically. Mm-hmm. Okay, how proud would you be if you sat down next to your son or your daughter or your family members, your mom, your dad, and we played a reel of your day today? Everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? And they get to see inside your thought process too. When you quit, when you didn't quit, when you turned it on, when you wanted to. That's a crazy thought. Mm-hmm. For real. Are you proud or are you disappointed?
Yeah.
Are you embarrassed? Think of it that way. That will build your integrity. That's where integrity begins. When you could tell yourself the truth and admit that and be okay with that, that's where it all starts. Dude, you can bullcrap everyone in the world. You can take pictures of everything under the sun and how great your life is and how fantastic everything is. But the truth is the truth. Yeah. You could be rotten inside. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yep.
You're killing yourself just as much as you're tricking other people.
Yeah.
And you want these people that you want your family, you want your friends, you want your mentors, you want people to be proud of you.
Yeah.
Right? They're actually counting on you because you bullcrap them so much. They literally think that's who you are. So you start rushing around when you know they're coming to your house and cleaning up and throwing things out the window and moving things around because you're holding up this image. You want them to think this is who you are. This house always clean. This house always clean.
Never.
Is that a fact?
Yeah, that's true.
You go to your cousin's house birthday party, you wash your car. Tires shining, everything clean. That thing just got inspected because everyone's gonna be looking at them stickers. All of a sudden, why? Because people are watching now.
Yep.
But who are you? Driving a hoopty all week long, driving your kids in a hoopty all week long. Nothing wrong with that. But then all of a sudden you turn up to show off on a weekend. Dude, that's integrity. It's like, who are you when no one's looking? Yeah. When the party's not being thrown? Who are you? Are you corny? Or is that how corny you are? Start checking yourselves. Seriously, why the hell would you want to be around someone that corny? You just turn up when other people are looking. Your own family don't even like you. Because they know you're corny. Because your kids know you're corny. Because they're watching everything you're doing. Wait a second. They're smart. And then you're teaching them to be corny. Oh, okay, we clean the house when people come over. We clean the car when we go to people's houses.
But you don't do it otherwise.
Yeah, didn't have money for the school trip, but you had money to put in someone else's birthday card. Right? You're corny. Who are you?
Yeah.
I mean, we all should be questioning ourselves. I'm not saying that anyone here does it. I'm just saying in general, like, understand that they're watching on you. We put together a video to bring that comprehension to the forefront that they're counting on you. They literally believe everything you're saying. Don't lie to them. That's corny. Like, you're showing your kid to be a cornball too. Like, we don't need any more of that in society. We need real men, real women, stand up. If it is what it is, you ain't got the money for it, you ain't got the money for it.
True.
Right?
Yes.
That's it. And explain that to your kid. If you quit, explain that to your kid why you're a quitter. If you have projects left in your house that are not done, explain to your kid why they're not done. Explain it. Explain it because they need to learn. Otherwise, they're going to do the same corny crap that you're doing. And then here comes another corny person in society. We don't need that. Explain it to them. If all your errors, and no one here is saying that no one here is perfect. I'm just saying it's a great way to look at things.
100%.
It's a beautiful way to look at things. Everyone gets chin checked.
Yeah.
Because all of us bull crapped. All of us are on some level are bull crapping currently.
You can always make an excuse about something.
You can always make an excuse about something. But at the end of the day, to recognize real, you can have a conversation with it, and within 30 seconds, I know someone's like lying, bull crapping, fluffing things, whatever. It's okay. But it's like, dude, you're hurting yourself more than you're hurting anyone else, more than you're affecting anybody else. The whole thing is, or if you have that goal, if you have that project, definitely don't do this. Definitely don't talk to your kid about going to school and getting a degree and you don't finish yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't have to have a degree, and you can talk your kid into getting but you can explain why. This is important. I don't know if and getting degrees isn't for anybody. Don't get me twisted. Getting degrees is not for everybody. But I'm saying if that's what you're going to preach to your kid, explain to them why, so they understand why they're doing it, not just doing it just because everyone else is doing it. But don't start your program and not finish, because now you're going to tell them that's the old saying is like, do what I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
Knucklehead.
Because that's not an example.
Corny. What kind of legacy is that? That's the legacy that you left. That's the legacy that you're leaving. Why would you do that? Listen, we're here. Like, we need to we need to continually come together, bond together, and make a difference. This is why I love Dante Reeves, because he puts things together on some level every once in a while. And Antoine Lovelace, they all do these things. They always do these little events. It brings a community together, and it makes a large impact. You already have the platform. Use it. We have this platform. We're using it. Hopefully, we keep getting better onto how we use it. We have all these gifts. We have all these things, all these shiny objects. Use it. You guys all show up here with Blessed t-shirts. That's what I'm talking about. We're supporting each other. We're doing it at Miguel's Riverside Barbershop. We're promoting it every single time we're on. That's what I'm talking about. We're utilizing it. Because initially, we weren't doing any of that. Initially, we're having a podcast, had fantastic content, and we're not doing anything with it. We weren't using the platform that we're with. So if you have a platform, use it. Use it for positive. Use it to make an impact in a good way. Listen, we could all crush it. That's what they say. It's not about motivation, right? Because you can motivate an idiot, and he's going to be more, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I heard that one time. I started cracking up. I got underestimated. We get underestimated for, me specifically, I get underestimated for the motivational stuff. Well, here's the thing. Imagine this. Motivation is something that you need daily, right? It's like taking a shower. Eventually, it's going to wear off.
Yeah.
You need to take a shower.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You need to get motivated because that motivation is eventually going to wear off. Yeah, you can blow a gasket and get all excited, and then that's the end of that. But here's the thing: it's like the next day. What's going to motivate you today? You don't need to be 5,000 years ahead of time. Focus on what's going on today. What are the goals and everything that you set today? How do you get there? Start planning now. Start planning now for next week. We get so overwhelmed it's because we're disorganized. There's so much thing going on. I got a doctor's appointment. I got a birthday party. Nonsense. It's all nonsense.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with. Listen, when I die, they're going to be like, all those, remember all those birthday parties he went to? Again, corny, like, what's important to you?
Yeah.
Understand what's important to you. What's critical? What are the roles you're trying to play? What kind of impact are you trying to make? Stop being corny. Just do it. Stop being scared. Just do it. We have no idea what we're doing. Somebody the other day said, oh, you had background in this. Background in what? My background was a window unit in our office that we couldn't even turn on because the sound was so loud it was picking up. That was my background. No one has a background in this.
No,
we just had a passion to talk and inspire. And here comes this, the Rotated Views podcast. Such a beautiful thing. Yo, but here's the thing. If you want it bad enough, if you think you're making that much of an impact on something, you're going to figure it out. Figure it out.
Yeah.
If you want it that bad, figure it out. Goose, you wanted it that bad? You chopped their freaking ears off half the damn time growing up trying to be a barber. That's what he really wanted to be. He figured it out. Eventually he started, and then he graduated. He made a couple bucks, started buying better tools. Made a couple bucks, started buying better tools. And it just kept building, kept practicing. That's how it's done. That's how you're supposed to do it. At least we, although initially we weren't making any money on it, but we gained more in education and in learning experience than any monetization could have ever done for us.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. For the rest of our lives. Mm-hmm. We saw what something so little, literally, physically, can do to change and inspire so many lives. You know, the emails, the text messages, the phone calls I get based off guest, inspiration, motivation, everything that has changed, literally changed people's lives. Something so simple. Mm-hmm. We're taking an hour out of our time to record, and all that. There's a lot of background stuff that goes on. But initially, it was that simple. We'll put a couple questions together and we start recording. We didn't know it was going to grow into something like this. Who cares? Mm-hmm. God bless that it did. But we have zero background in audio, zero background in recording any of this, to the point where now we have 2 albums out, multiple videos, all inspiring, all motivating stuff. Why? Because we decided not to take the excuse, because we started to feed the dream, which is a lot of people need to start doing, and stop feeding the TV and feeding the whatever the heck you got, your Fire Stick or whatever's going on there, watching movie after movie after movie. That's all good until, you're paying someone else's bills.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Entertainment has a spot in your life. I'm not saying it all has to be work, but you have to be balancing that stuff, especially if you're trying to get it, especially if you're trying to make an impact, especially if you're trying to make a difference, especially if you're more concerned what your future and your kids are looking like. Out here like a bunch of cornballs. And you're talking about, I want to change lives, I want to change lives, I want to change lives. You can't even change a flat tire in your wife's car. Get chin checked. Where are we at with it? Do you need an oil change? You've been ignoring it this whole time? And then you're wondering why you're putting down the highway? Figure it out. Figure it out. Seriously. I think we all need, if you just get back to basics, it's the same thing when somebody says, oh my God, I need to lose weight, or I want to graduate. It's all these things. The information's out there for you to do it. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that, there's special cases out there where, certain things are impossible, but for the majority, there's things out there. There's enough information out there. God bless YouTube.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you could buy really cheap tire valves and they'll melt on your valves and you can't, it's impossible to take them off. So, and thank God for a Dremel, because I chopped them things off. That happens when you buy grenade valves.
Valve covers.
That's what happens when you're corny. Valve covers. Super corny. Melted on.
That's the perfect time.
No, but in all seriousness, it's your kids, your family, everybody's counting on you. They want you to succeed. There's people cheering you on. As much as I like to say, yo, you're underestimated, we are. But at the same time, don't forget the people that are cheering you on. Be appreciative of that. Because in the Blessed Lifestyle brand, the number 3, and the number 3 is gratitude, being thankful. This whole thing works on whatever you want to call it, karma, God, the law of attraction, whatever it is. What you put out there comes back. Mm-hmm. If it's good, it's coming back tenfold. If it's bad, it's coming back. It's everything. There's a universal scoreboard. So if you think you're cheating somebody out, you think there's no elevator to success. Mm-hmm. You're not cheating anybody. There could be some tips. You could learn from some dude. You could learn from an old head. You could learn from a mentor, but you still got to do your own push-ups.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, you still got to do your, understand me, you want that chest? You want to be all big? You still got to throw that weight up. Your mentor can't throw that weight up for you. At one point, you have to throw the weight up. You're trying to get all big and buff or lose the weight or whatever you're trying to do. And I know I'm talking about very physical, but this could be mentally. You're trying to be a professor. You're trying to teach. You're trying to lead an organization. You're trying to lead your pack. As a leader, at one point, you have to do the work. And if regardless of if the rest of the team's not doing the work. I heard this one time a long time ago. Just imagine what your team's going to look like, then lead and estimate that they're only going to do half of what you do. So now what does that say to you as a leader or a mentor, right? So if I want everyone to if I do 100 push-ups every single day, the most I can expect is my team to do 50. But you have to lead by example. You have to show whoever's paying attention. Somebody is watching you. You are impacting someone's life, holding that door, saying thank you, tipping that waiter, tipping that waitress, smiling, just smiling at somebody. Not saying stuff that costs money here. Giving a hug, giving a compliment, writing a thank you letter. It's all gratitude. Being grateful for the position and the things that you have is going to create more of that. You ever hear the old saying where people say, you don't know what you have until it's gone? To some, to some level of that. Why? Because obviously you didn't appreciate it on some level, so you weren't grateful for it.
You took it for granted.
You took it for granted, right? So it went away. Okay, so for the stuff that you want to come back to you, what do you got to do? The exact opposite. Be thankful for it. Don't take it for granted.
Sure.
Appreciate it. Hug it. Love it. Tell your loved one that you love them every once in a while. You don't have to be all lovey-dovey. That's not what this is about. Sometimes you just going to work is showing that person love. Sometimes just taking out the trash, showing that person love. There's a book out there called 5 Love Languages. Read it. Recommend it. If you're having trouble in your relationship, read 5 Love Languages. Because we all think we all talk on the same, thing. Somebody could be all touchy-feely, and that's what heals them, and some person doesn't even like to be touched. Stop touching me. That's how you like to be, show affection, not me.
Sure.
Right? 5 Love Languages. Read that. All right, here you go. Is every day a fight? Yes. Is every day a fight? Yes. Every single day. The reason why is because we're humans, right? And it's built in our DNA to go towards comfort, whether that's in our thought or physically. That's why we love jogging pants and hoodies when we're at home watching a ball game or whatever. It's just comfortable. You're comfortable. It feels good, right? Why would you be in a tuxedo watching a football game at your house? It's uncomfortable.
That's not the appropriate way to do it.
Nah, it's little shiny shoes. But the thing is going outside of your comfort zone. That's what creates the growth. There's an old saying, go the extra mile. It's less crowded. There's no traffic there, right? Because a lot of people tend to give up because of their comfort. This is all I'm comfortable with. Someone wanted to ask me, how long are you going to push this? How long are you going to push this movement? I was like, I don't even understand what that means. I'm not, and to be honest with you, I don't want to understand what that means because I don't want to go there. But here's what I want to tell you. I don't know what my potential is. I genuinely do not. So each day, I try to push it to another level. How do you know what you're made of if you never push it to the level, push it to the limit, right? If you hadn't thrown up or fell over,
sure.
Okay, there's my limit. That's where I need to stop.
For now.
Right, for now. And then you grow until that becomes the new norm.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't throw up and I didn't pass out, and you're asking me, aren't you going too far with this? How would I know that? Outside of your limitations that you're posing on me, how would I know that? And if I'm trying to become the best version of myself, and if I'm trying to be a real man and really stand up for something that I believe in, why would I stop anyway? If I have the energy, so if God gives me energy and I don't utilize it, what am I, a Prius? Am I saving it for tomorrow? What is going on here? I get charged up for what? To not use it? So you mean to tell me you're a grown man, all charged up, you got your coffee, hopped up, motivated, reading books, listening to motivational stuff, and you don't even use it?
Just go right to bed.
You just go right to bed. Might as well. Don't work out. Don't do that workout. Don't go to the playground with your kid. Why? For what? Listen, you do not know your true potential. None of us do. So keep pushing the limits. Every single day, push the limit. Dude, you'll get your rest. Believe me, at some point you'll get your rest. I'm not saying for us to all be like we're walking around like zombies and exhausted out of our minds. You need your rest, but I'm saying like every single day you don't need 5,000 hours of sleep. Go out there, do your thing. Some days you're gonna need to stay up a little bit later if you're really pursuing your dream. You talk to any entrepreneur who really pushed it and who's really successful, they'll tell you there was no real sleep pattern. They had to do certain things to just get by, just to make it happen. But understand that it's temporary. It's not a permanent thing. So your awful sleep pattern while you're doing this is temporary. It's just like when we went to school. Yep. I was awful with sleep because I was studying till 2, 3 in the morning, then waking up at 7 in the morning and catching a bus and blah, blah, blah. 4 years, temporary. I got a college degree. That's paying off very well, right? So just understand that it's temporary. Push yourself, but just know that's not going to be forever. Again, you're going to become stronger anyway. So that's going to become your new norm. It became so normal for me to go to bed late, wake up early. That it was it 100% healthy? Probably not. But guess what? I end up getting my rest. The way life works is, you get paid for your hard work eventually. And if you're out there really crushing it, getting your beauty sleep every single day is not going to happen. But understand, it'll come back to you at one point. It's all temporary. And if you're going through the pain, but you know there's something to fight for, just remember that. If you're right now losing all hope in everything, just remember it's all temporary. It's all temporary. It's all in our heads. It's made up because we applied the pressure to ourselves. We made this own little timeline in ourselves that this needs to be done now. This needs to be done now. But God's time works totally different than that. So just understand that it's temporary. Just keep pushing. Keep going. Here's the other thing. If you're doing the right thing, and if at least you're thinking you're doing the right thing, there's a ton of times where I was completely off, totally wrong, doing all the wrong things, and I still got rewarded. Did all the wrong things, but I did all the wrong things in a positive way. I wasn't ripping people off. I wasn't taking advantage of people, right? And I was doing good. I was losing money and still donating money. I was in the red and not even knowing I was in the red. That's how bad I was messing up. Didn't even know it. The level of ignorance, awful. Super red. But I learned from that, right? And I do good, and you just got to do good by people and understand people will see that. They'll see that your business is legit. Your movement, your intention, that is so at the forefront. They could feel it in your handshake. They could see it in your eyes. They could see it in your swagger and the way you carry yourself. You're talking about fitness and you're just walking around like a slob. People understand you're not about that. You're just saying that, right? This is not about getting over on people. This whole thing called life, these guys who are out there ripping people off, family members, friends, thinking that that's not going to come back to you. That's going to come back to you. Everyone sees that. They see right through you. They see right through your schemes. And eventually, the universe is going to hit you 2 times. Those kinds of things get shut down eventually.
Yes.
A lot of us like to see them get shut down sooner than later.
Sure.
But it's not up to us. That's not how we operate. And you also don't focus on that. Leave that. That's God's hands. I'm not messing with that stuff. But what I'm saying, eventually, all that. Listen, what you put out. So you're gonna put out a bunch of, and your kids are watching you ripping people off, cheating people every single day of your life, right? And your kids just watching. Who do you think you're raising? Another cheater, another scammer. Mm-hmm. That's all you're doing. Another Ponzi scheme leader. That's all you're doing. I'm not saying that's where everyone came, but just imagine if you're trying to be the leader, if you're the person that's trying to make the impact, take into consideration your every move. I challenge you, because there's going to be some suspect things in there, and just do away with them. It's okay. Especially if it was innocently done. Just do away from them. Now, if you're doing them, you continue doing them, then you get what's coming to you.
Sure.
So there's going to be a ton of things we need to sacrifice. Mm-hmm. Right? You just have to understand, you have to put the value on how bad do you want it. The sacrifice is going to be mandatory. You're going to have to give up some things. You're going to have to give up that football. You're going to have to give up whatever, that soccer league that you're in, that softball league, whatever it is. You're going to have to give that up. You're going to have to give something up. And it's a matter of what you give up. How bad do you want it is the question you should really be asking yourself. And not some recreational thing that's taken over your life. That you're like reliving, your childhood or whatever it is that you're doing. It's doing whatever it takes to outwork your opponent, right? I said this on my first album. And I don't know if it got caught, whatever, and I hope someone caught it, is where you see yourself putting in the work. You see yourself, I'm doing everything you're saying. This dude, you're preaching to the choir. I do all that, and I'm not seeing any results. Well, guess what? Your opponent is also doing all of that and is also not seeing any results, but he's not going to give up tonight. You are. Do you want to be that guy, or do you want to be your opponent? Your opponent, outwork your opponent. And 95% of the time, our opponents is ourselves. Mm-hmm. It's our own thought process. Like, I don't need to go to the gym. I don't need to get another barber chair. I don't need to hire anybody else. I don't need to develop a business card. Why? I have social media. That's what that's for. And you come up with all these excuses as to why you shouldn't do the thing that you know you should do. You know darn well you should not eat that slice of pizza. I ate it. I know darn well I should have went to the gym. Snooze button got hit. It's these things that we're doing. It's those small decisions that we're making that can make the biggest changes in our lives. The problem is we think we want to get saved. Everybody wants to get saved. Some entrepreneur come and pay my layaway now. You think that's how it works? That's like lottery winnings right there, boy. That's not how it works. No one's going to save you. You got to save yourself.
You got to put the work.
And if that happens, God bless you. But we're talking about 99.9% of the other people who that it will never happen to. So stop thinking in that capacity. Start thinking you're the one that needs to make the change. You're the one that needs to save yourself. You're the one that needs to make the difference. Yeah, you got to put in the work, okay? It's going to be up to you. And I already said it about taking an elevator. There's just no shortcuts. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter how you look into it. Doesn't matter if your parents fronted you all this loot and you could start that crazy business and become successful. At some point, you will pay the price. We are all here, and with no one here who genuinely successfully made it has not paid the price. You at some point, whether it's the first 5 years of your business, the last 5, the middle 5, at some point, you're going to hit some turbulence. Somebody's going to sue you. Trademark's not going to work. They're going to just accidentally cut your electric off because you forgot to pay it because you were paying someone to pay it and they didn't pay it. Instead, they bought their kids some sneakers. Right? Something is going to happen to you. It's at those points. That's the reason why you want the adversity to happen earlier in your career, because then you know exactly how to deal with it. I'm not saying precisely, but you at least have the gusto to deal with it and handle it.
Yeah.
That which doesn't kill you only makes you stronger, right? Utilizing those experiences into the future. You kind of want bad things to happen in a weird way. Not bad things, but you know what I mean, like challenges. Sure. So then you know how to deal with them later. Mm-hmm. Because it's only going to build. Because the bigger you get, the problems will get bigger.
The higher the magnitude of the problem.
Absolutely, the magnitude of the problem. One of the last statements I want to make is protecting the dream. And I know I kind of like touched base a little bit earlier talking about like forget the naysayers, you're underestimated, and that's what this whole episode and topics are about. But you have to be able to protect the dream. The second someone comes and says something, you flop. It's like, how bad do you want it? I literally have a track called Protect the Dream, and if you listen to it, that's exactly what I'm about to say. But in summary, You have to be able, if that's truly what you want, you'll protect this. The way you protect your family
Of course.
is the way you need to protect your dream. If anybody comes around there and tries to touch it in any capacity, you have to be there to defend it. It doesn't matter. There's no question. And if you don't question your dream, question your ambition, question your attitude, question the reason why you're doing it, suspect. That's super suspect if you can't do that. And you're just doing it for show and you're not real anyway. You need to work on that. But if you can protect your dream, no matter who's around, it doesn't matter if it's huge, celebrities, millionaires, whatever, authority, or someone who doesn't really care, and to a child level. But if you can protect it, you're good. And you're going in the right direction, one day at a time. So my recommendation to anyone pursuing a dream, right, outside of what I already just said, or what we already discussed, is go without regret and not being mad at yourself. Taking the chance, taking the leap, jump, as a great speech given by Steve Harvey. Jump. Be willing to mess up. And I think we have this perfect way of doing things and this perfect way our lives individually should go. And if we can let that itself go, and in my case, God's will, you'll be absolutely fine. You just have to be willing to risk. If you cannot risk, the payoff's not going to be there. It's just not going to be there. And risk in a healthy way.
If it's just a smooth ride, then you don't appreciate it as much.
Absolutely. Go out there, get what you want. If you're underestimated, be underestimated. Take that as the underdog mentality. The underdogs always finds a way to overcome adversity and silence the doubters. All right, with that being said, we like to close our podcast out with quotes, and the first one is by Larry Flint. The only question to ask yourself is, how much are you willing to sacrifice to achieve success? The second one is by Grant Cardone. Let the rest do whatever, while you do whatever it takes.
Well,
I love it. So with that being said, guys, BL3SSED.com. Get your underestimated shirts. They are in military green and military font. Super dope. We appreciate the love and support. And as always, a portion of the proceeds go to a charity. Underestimated. In this episode, the crew talks about inspiration and motivation on everyday life. We cover topics that range from quitting, sacrifice, outworking your opponent, making history, and much more. We wrap the episode up with quotes from Larry Flint and Grant Cardone. Awesome. Guys, thanks again for joining us. The Rotated Views podcast was produced for self-development purposes. Huge shout out to our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by the Blessed Lifestyle brand. That is BL3SSED.com. Also sponsored by The Motivation Files Unleashed. This motivational mixtape will be your fuel for success. Available on all platforms. Guys, don't forget to visit the website, JimmyleeVelez.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Rotated Views. If you have any inquiries or questions, email us at info@JimmyleeVelez.com. On behalf of myself and the rest of the crew, we wish you massive success. Stay blessed.